What's up, guys? This is Derek with Team Evolution coming to you with an October 1st, 2021 ban list for mutants. And this particular mutant deck is dubbed Mutant Control or Trap Control Mutants, somewhere along that line, because that's what I'm going for with this type of build. I've been working on this deck for a while now. For some of you that may have saw my other profile that I got first with in that Win-A-Mat tournament, I've made a lot of changes since that profile. I got a big event coming up on October 9th around where I live, so I'm planning on playing this for that event, and I have a lot of faith in it, but I'm going more towards a control side because I just think with the new ban list and Designator being in the meta now, the meta is going to probably stay the same, but I want to just have a good control feel. I'm more comfortable with control decks and trap decks, and I figured if I could make a trap version of this deck work, I would play that. And so that's what I have here. So make sure you like the video. If you like the profile, definitely comment your thoughts. And yeah, let me know if there's anything I should change, I should take a look at, so on and so forth. Just let me know your opinions. But other than that, let's get into the deck profile. So first off, the mutants themselves, pretty standard so far to what I've been playing. 3 of each of the eggs and 1 of each of the big ones. I think this ratio is just perfect. Well, these are obviously a given, but for the big ones, I think this is fine. Just 1 of each. You don't need 2 beasts. You don't need to not play one over the other. I just think that having all 3 of them at 1 is the perfect way to play them, and it shouldn't change, to be honest. And GB88 is still terrible, so we're not playing that either. Okay, so hand traps. So obviously Designator coming into the format changes a lot. And I had 2 different things to decide. I decided either A, I could play a lot of hand traps in the deck. That way, whether I go first or second, mostly second, I could combat the meta, still have turn, you know, that whole philosophy. And then option 2 was, okay, we play very minimum hand traps, play more regular traps, and focus on a more trap going first type of build. And, you know, I wanted to give the trap build a shot, and so far I'm liking this version a lot better. So at the moment, I've shaved off all the other hand traps except for D-Shifter. This is the best hand trap. I think it's the hand trap that has the biggest potential to be a sleeper come the next format, just because I don't think this is a card that some people will be thinking about when it comes to cross-out Designator. You know, a lot of people are going to be thinking about Ash, they're going to be thinking about Valor, or they're going to be thinking about Nibiru, you know, all that stuff. Not so much this. And the cool thing is this card just absolutely thrashes the meta. Like, it doesn't really matter what deck you play, really, with this. This card just makes your opponent skip their turn and you keep moving. So this is the only hand trap I'm playing in terms of the monster side of things. And it's gonna, that's how I like it for now. For the spells, we got 3 Prosperity. So if you saw my last video, I kind of explained why I liked Prosperity more than Extravagance. I do kind of use the extra deck, and on top of that, I just like being able to dig for up to 6 cards. I think it's more efficient than just getting 2 random cards off the top of your deck. And I don't know, I just like this in every single which way or form. The consistency that this card brings you over Extravagance is just far better. So I like this card a lot more. It increases your odds and chances of getting to your eggs and getting to the cards that you actually need, instead of just drawing 2 cards. The 2 E-Tellies, super cool that this card came back to 2, man. I actually can't even believe it, considering how short this ban list was. But I'm pumped. I'm hopeful that this means that it'll come to 3 next ban list with that new punk archetype, along with the fact that once Konami has this thing where when something goes to 2, if it doesn't really do much, then they push it to 3. So I'm really hoping that ends up being the case for this, because this deck could really use this at 3. And then maybe just like 1 other support card that helps the deck a little. And, you know, this would be a great just control archetype that people can hopefully play around with. But this was a big start to getting everything back, or to getting everything a little more consistent. And then I'm still on the 2 Field Spell and the 1 Fusion. I almost took Fusion out, but I realized you just kind of have to play the card. Like, it's one of those cards where it's like, it's not necessary, but it's somewhat needed just because it's part of the archetype and it is kind of good. Sets up for Mutant Cry. Yeah, so you play the 1, and then the Field Spell, same thing. Like, I think 1's too little and 3's too much, so I think that ratio stays the same. The only other spell cards I would play, maybe make room for Triple Tactics, just because this whole deck revolves around searching, but I don't really have the space, and I'm having a hard time deciding what I would take out for Tactics, and I just don't even know if Tactics is worth playing still. I know it is because it's a good card, but I don't know, I'm torn on the card. So at the moment, that's the only spells. Traps, which is where this deck focuses on being a little more on the control side, making sure that my opponent just can't really do much while I'm sitting on my big mutants and just keeping the game under my control. So first is obviously the 3 Cries and the 3 Expansions. That'll never change. Both these cards are insane. Mutant Cry is a main part of the deck, and Expansion just helps keep the deck consistent. This card just causes a lot of problems for the opponents if they don't stop it soon enough. So you keep those. And then the other traps, we're playing 3 Solemn Strike because it's the best counter trap right now. And then this was where my deck, I took a personal approach on this to make a more control-based, just interactive deck. And with all the combo decks and everything out there, again, like hand traps are going to be what people are suspecting the most, not so much traps themselves. But we're playing 2 Torrentials, followed by 2 Needle Ceilings, followed by 2 Dogmatic Punishment. So a lot of you will look at this immediately and just think, well, hold on, those don't really fit with mutants based off all the builds that people have seen, because most builds play hand traps. But man, these put in so much work so far through testing, and I really think it's going to make a difference when it comes to the competitive side of it, because Needle Ceiling and Torrential already are just unexpected cards that just wreck. And Strike on top of one of those pretty much guarantees your opponent loses their board. And then Punishment, I've always been afraid to play Punishment in this deck because of the fact that it's like, you know, you can't use Mutant Cry, or if you're under D-Shifter or whatever. But honestly, if you're smart, it doesn't really conflict that much. And the extra removal that Punishment provides is just insane. So 6 removal cards, I think it's fine. I really like them so far. Punishment also has a cool thing with Ultimus, where if you send Ultimus, he's a dark, so you can actually shuffle him back as a target with Mutant Cry, which is cool. So just stuff like that just makes this card really good. And I like that Intis has the ability to pop like anything instead of just like you get a monster and maybe a back row or something, so that's nice. Then I played 2 Imperm. I did still want to have some sense of this card in the deck because Effect Negation is really strong. I was playing 3 Torrentials and 2 Punishment with 3 Imperm. Decided to take out an Imperm, take out a Torrential to squeeze in the Needle Ceilings. And so far, like I said, I like this lineup right here. The other trap cards that I played are just the Floodgates that are the unfair cards, which are 3 Summon Limit, followed by Macrocosmos and IO. These cards just steal games on their own. These cards are all so good, so broken. I just don't understand why they didn't ban this. This is modern day Vanity's Emptiness. Like, it's just such a good group of cards that if you're going to play a control deck that's not super affected by these, you have to play them. So really strong. 42 card main deck. I think 42 is the right number. 41, 42, somewhere around there, to just make sure you don't clump up on things. And yeah, I just think that works out. For the extra deck, we're playing the 3 Synthesis, the 1 Ultimus. Obviously, these are the fusions that you're going to be playing for the deck, and I don't think this has to change at all. Again, Ultimus is cool with Punishment because you could send Punishment, pop something, then when Cry's live, shuffle this back with Mutant Cry. It's really good. I like this card a lot. For the other Punishment targets, we're just playing 3 Intis. You know, I played 3 because of Prosperity. I had some leverage and some room to play it, so I just played it at 3. I was thinking about playing 2 Intis and 2 Ultimus just because, but this is probably fine. And then I kept my Xyz package, 2 97s, 2 Hopes, the 100, the Photon, or sorry, the Galaxy Eyes, a Zeus, and then Stardust because I side deck Starlight Road, testing it anyways. Side deck, I mean, obviously side deck is just whatever, depending on the event that you're going to. So, you know, like my side deck right now is a Road with 2 Judgments, Duster, and 3 Cyclone. And then I'm just loading up on testing out like 2 Seas, 2 Phantasmes, 2 Nibs, and 2 Drolls. Just trying to have a good diversity, a good array of cards to just combat, you know, what I think I'm going to be playing. So yeah, that's the deck, guys. I hope you really like it. Like I said, I know it's a different take on what you're probably used to seeing with Mutants, but the deck is just, it's still really fun. It's really cool, and I pretty much have learned a lot of the combos and plays just by constantly playing around with it. It's such an unexpected deck for people, and if you know what you're doing, you can definitely outplay people. And I just think that a control side that's more consistent, whether you go first or second and you just play patiently waiting to get your pieces, is a far better way to play the deck than just trying to go off on a combo and so on and so forth, you know. So, but yeah, that's the deck. So you guys let me know what you think. Comment below your thoughts. Let me know if there's anything I should investigate or take a look at or whichever. But I'm going to be playing this deck for a couple weeks at my locals to prepare for that tournament, and I'll definitely have a tournament report for you when that comes along. So until then, Derek from Team Evolution out.